Hey, 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 hey. What's up, Gemstones? It is your girl Unitedly Random, and today we're washing my face. It is day number 8, the morning time routine. I'm gonna go ahead, wash my face, and talk to you guys what's been going on. 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes. I just woke up and I didn't immediately wake up, come to wash my face. I actually was strolling on the Facebook like I don't always do, but I was doing it and I got to a thing that was very interesting. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and share that with you guys while I'm washing my face. Like when I'm wetting my face, I'm gonna pop it on the screen and you guys can go ahead, pause it, read it, and then we can talk about it, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the intro.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Okay, now I explained what we're gonna be doing in this video. In the beginning of the video, go ahead and just pause the screen when the new things pop up and you just read all of that while I'm washing my face, okay? You guys do that, I'm gonna wet my face. Oh no, the water's cold. The water is cold. Okay, now it's getting kind of, you know, kind of room temperature-ish. But at first it was cold. I was like, baby, I just woke up. Well, I didn't just wake up, but you know what I'm saying. This is not the time for you to be cold. Now, last time I washed my face, I wet both of my hands and then put the cleanser on there, and that did suds up. Like, that sudsed up a little bit. So then I put the suds on my face, okay? Because it tends that I haven't been able to really get the suds going without doing that step. So totally doing that. So at this point, you guys are probably like, okay, Alia, I read the thing. And if you didn't read it, a little bit of a lowdown is this female was talking about the indoctrination. You guys don't come for me for the way I pronounce words, but the indoctrination of young teenagers these days, right? And it stood out to me not only because she was talking about like, oh yeah, you know, young moms of like little, you know, little white boys. I'm sorry, but this is something that is happening, and it's happening at an alarming pace. If you look at it, everybody's calling someone a snowflake and this and this and that, especially the young kids, and they'll make a joke out of someone being triggered, right? Not really understanding what is there to understand. You feel me? This is something that I honestly have had a conversation about with my husband, because I was like, you know, the media that you consume actually sets your tone to how open of a person you are, right? When I first met my husband, he would like watch celebrities that would kind of like, you know, crap on, you know, the mental health aspects of, you know, like having a hard time. They crap on how everyone these days are now triggered and this and that and like that. And I think that people who are quick to be like, everyone's triggered, they're just using that as an excuse not to change their behavior, because over time things change. Something that was acceptable in the past becomes not acceptable in the future. It's just, I don't know if it's just I've lived through that time to see it happening, or, you know, they're just used. I think it's more so an excuse. Like, everyone's triggered to kind of project that everyone is the problem and I'm the problem. When at the end of the day, you know, as you grow and you learn and you become more educated, you learn more things about people in general, right? So I don't think it's a problem that the younger generation is just so triggered. I think it's more so it tells me more about the person who's easily or happily can say, oh, people are just triggered, and not recognize that this is the world you live in. And if people are saying that this hurt them, this makes them uncomfortable, and you continue to do the action, you are now somewhat of a bad guy. And people don't want to be a bad guy, so they don't want to pause for a moment and listen to what people are saying, right? And I've seen it like in real life. I've seen it in real life where people are like, okay, well, this younger generation, they're just triggered about everything. And me coming from a situation, or just coming from, in general, this way of being more open to the mental health aspects of things, I've seen it, and then I've grown up. Growing up, I have been a little bit more sensitive than the rest. I cared more about things, and I think that at some point I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm a starseed. And if you guys don't know what a starseed is, look it up on YouTube. But at one point I would be like, I'm a starseed. But also I think if we're gonna just do it like real life version it, because you know, you guys, I believe in like the spiritual things. I do the tarot cards and stuff like that, so I understand not everybody's into that. But if you want to real life do it, because of trauma, I grew up to be a more sensitive person. And the thing is, the people who are like kind of saying, you know, you guys are more sensitive, is like you're minimizing other people's trauma, right? Trauma that in some cases you might not have had to go through. And also in some cases, people who go through things also minimize the things for someone else, you know? Like, oh yeah, well, for example, and I guess because I'm using the Trisha skincare, people will say, well, I have BPD, I have these mental illnesses, and I'm not doing what Trisha's doing, which is valid, but also it's like minimizing that, you know, well, yours doesn't look like mine's, and I can handle mine, so why can't you handle yours? Did you also go through all of the trauma past that point that Trisha has been? Are you also an internet figure with a lot of people looking at you? You know, you can't pick and choose, oh, well, I'm this way and therefore she should also be this way. For example, like, I don't want to like go into too many details, but I was surrounded by people that would make jokes about race, and specifically race towards me, and just race in general. And I'm just like, oh, you know, this gives the impression, this is the first time I met you and you're making a lot of jokes about race. This is giving me the impression that you're somewhat racist, or you're, you know, it gives me not like, oh, big R word, but it's still like you have racist tendencies. And that person generally was like, well, no, I'm not racist, because the whole conversation, you know, in the Black community and just in general, where people are like, I'm not racist because I have a Black friend. And this generation is so sensitive, because back in the day, me and my Black friend used to make these jokes all the time. And my Black friend was like the only Black friend around a bunch of whites and stuff like that, when you start getting into the story. And it's just like, if your Black friend was only a Black friend around a bunch of white people, you think he was going to tell you that your jokes weren't very nice. And then also, just because your one Black friend is okay with this joke doesn't mean that every single Black person is okay with that joke. There's, you know, there's that conversation to be had, right? And because I'm not okay with something that someone you grew up with is okay with, does not mean I'm the snowflake. I think that if you're feeling offended that I'm saying, hey, you know, like, that makes me uncomfortable, and then you just like, oh, the first person to be like the snowflake, the person who calls somebody else the snowflake is probably the snowflake. I'm just throwing it out there because, you know, and I recognize in some cases that the younger generation tends to like, oh, this is bad, everything is bad, and they try to cancel everything. And cancel culture is a whole doozy, and I don't really participate in cancel culture because, you know, I feel like everybody has their own story, everybody can go their own way. But the whole snowflake, I wouldn't call the people in cancel culture snowflakes. I would call them more so I don't know how to call it, okay? Like, you know, like, it's like activism, but it's like show activism. It's like being good for the camera. It's more so like being good, like, it's a little bit of like following the herd, if you will. And I'm not saying everybody who's just like, oh yeah, cancel culture, but like the way it goes around, it kind of seems more like groupthink than individual think. Which is weird. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's the young generation or it's the old generation. I'm just saying that there's a mixture of people. And I've said it before in another video, but I was like, when people start to get that way and it starts to get very violent and very vile and they can't see how they are too being bad in that situation, I think it's more so a conversation of their mental health is showing. And like, there's this whole idea of like projection and whatnot. So it's a very big conversation in the long run. And I'm just bastardizing it for this little short little period of time while I wash my face. But let me go ahead and spray. I wanted to spray it good. But that's just what was on my mind. I also want to give you guys an update about the skin product. Now, I forgot to do the eye cream. Can you guys tell that, wait a minute, I don't do the eye cream. It's morning. That's a good thing I didn't do the eye cream then. I sprayed my face. And when you spray your face, you don't have to do the oil that day. So let me put my morning face nutrients on. See, I was talking and done set myself up for wrongness. But, ooh. But yeah, that's just what I've noticed. And I thought that it was an interesting talking point because I don't really talk on my channel about much or share my thoughts. I mean, I share my thoughts, but I don't just come on here and just share my thoughts. But I would like to share my thoughts. And I know that my thoughts can sometimes be a little bit controversial. But I do want to share them because I want people to challenge my way of thinking because then I can grow. Okay, and I'm all about the growth. You don't just wake up knowing all the answers. You learn them, and I want to learn the answers. So that's all. Let me get up in your grill and show you my face. Now, this is one of the things that I wanted to point out. Oh my eyebrows are weird. This is one of the things that I want to point out. I don't know if y'all can see it, but on my forehead, this used to be a crater, and I don't know if I have any pictures that really show it. Like, not like a crater, but like my skin used to kind of go in and it was like a little hole, and it was a visible hole. And I would always try to like come and like squeeze it out, but there was like nothing in it or anything. But I noticed that by using this product, the skin has actually smoothed over where the hole was. And so like, it's not a hole anymore. So that's one thing that I can definitely say, because that hole has been on my forehead for a while. I don't know if it was scar tissue or something like that, but it was on my like forehead for a while, and now it's like not a hole anymore. It's that little black spot that you might be seeing right here that used to go in like a little crater. But that's one thing that I noticed. My skin did have like little breakouts from this, but they weren't like little breakouts in the way that I'm used to breakouts. They were more like little breakouts in the way that like kind of like, I think, hormonal shifts, if anything. They weren't breakouts because my skin was dirty. It was just hormonal shift breakouts, if that makes sense. But that is all for today, day 7 morning. I will see you guys later tonight if I have anything to say. If I don't, well, I just didn't have anything to say. Much love and positive vibes. Make sure to like the video if you got this far. If you got this far, like the video, subscribe, send it to your friends. Let me know about your day down below, and also let me know what you think about what I just said. That's interesting.